Brennick has stabilized Velixis. Um, Velixis, if you would whisper a D4 roll to me, that's the next step that we have here. What are the thoughts from Brennick and from Lu Bao while you have your unconscious kobold friend?
Well, if I remember correctly, didn't Queen McDwarfy Dwarf tell us the first level was pretty much clear?
Well, so Brennick's. Oh, go ahead, Mara.
Oh, I'm not responding to that.
Okay.
If you guys remember correctly, you can go on that assumption, but that is up to you.
And so Brennick's thinking, we're going to. It's going to be tough to, do much, go anywhere while Velixis is still unconscious. Hopefully, our fight with Dearth and the Mimic didn't, alert anyone else, but it might. Perhaps we should try and kind of like if there's anything in here we can use to sort of block the door and just kind of like keep a watch out while we kind of see if we can get Felixis back and conscious.
Gotcha.
Agreed.
Roll a perception check for me, Brennick. You could begin by blocking the door with the actual bed. Other than that, this place is pretty sparse.
Yeah, I think I remember you saying describing it last week as aside from like the bed, there's like no furniture really, just a couple, I guess, like braziers or in the corners. But yeah,
Yeah,
so
the four of
uh,
those, and I'm not sure if those would do anything realistically to bar the door.
yeah. But yeah, so Brannick would kind of look to Jinbao and kind of move Felixis off kind of all over to the ground to try and like leave her somewhat, well, not comfortable, but and then suggest like try and move the bed over in front of the door.
Yeah, probably. I mean, unless you think Queen would take us back in. But I think now that we made the first move, she probably don't want to be associated with us. Plausible deniability.
And perhaps best not to show any weakness to her if we come in looking for help so soon. She might have second thoughts about our little agreement. Perhaps best to try and stick it out here until Felixis comes to.
That's the
Well, I
thought
guess
then.
we'll take turns and watch. I guess.
So you two can sit back here and effectively, for the two of you, you can start watches here. The first one could easily be a short rest for you, but let me get a D4 from each of you, please. Not from Velixis, just Rennick and Lucian Bao. Gotcha. So if you two would like, you can use this next hour that comes as a short rest here. About the only thing that you all are going to hear is that there is going to be a vibration that starts up kind of almost hmm there's going to start with kind of like a rumble, and it's going to be kind of like a rhythmic whoop, 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 whoop. And that is going to speed up over about a minute, where it kind of gets to say something like 130, 150 beats per minute towards like the end of it. So it's almost going to double or triple the cadence of how fast whoop, 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 whoop. And as this sound is happening, this is going to be vibrating the entire castle until there is going to be a point where there is a whoop and silence. And after about 15 seconds from that, there is going to be a point where there is a kind of massive shudder through the stonework. And then a few moments later, another. A few moments later, another. And over the next minute or so, there's going to be about 12 or 15 of these until they start to lessen a little bit. And you're going to kind of, I said that incorrectly. They're going to almost get louder and vibrate the stone more before they start to get lower and vibrate the stone less. And about the end of all of this, towards the end of when you two are finishing kind of this first hour, you are going to hear a massive roar that is going to shudder almost this entire castle. And you are going to hear just this massive and then silence. And let me get a perception check from the two of you. Lucian Bao, you are going to hear almost like whistling torrential winds that are kind of gusting through the halls of this castle. And you can hear as they're almost like whooshing around, fanning some of those charcoal braziers that are like set in the hallways. But after that, silence. An hour has gone by. Alexis is still unconscious. What would the two of you like to do?
The hell was that? Perhaps one of us should try and take a look. The other keeps an eye on Felixus.
Agreed, because I heard underpinned whine that makes me believe it's close by, whatever it was.
You're probably a bit lighter on your feet than I am, so I can help you move this bed, and then if you want to just try and maybe perhaps take a peek out into the hallway, see if you can figure out what's going on. I'll be behind you if you need it.
Could I tell whether the sound was coming from the east or the west?
I don't think there's any reason. You guys are behind a barricaded door. I don't think there's any reason for you to have that ability.
All right, then. I guess we'll agree on a secret knock. Bump, ba-dum, bump, 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 and then I'll try to stealthily open the door and peek my head around the.
Gotcha. You two can do sleight of hands as you try to move the bed out of the way and get out of the room, basically. So you feel pretty confident that you're able to get that set up and sneak Lu Jianbao out. You can effectively be outside of the door if you would like to move around. If you're just looking to take like that first kind of look around, nothing's going to be dissimilar as you step out right now. There's still a razor kind of burning in that corner. You've got the same kind of smoke that's pervaded through all of these halls. It is effectively like a charcoal burner that releases like a dim light, just kind of glowing above, and more or less has a pretty difficult for human eyes to kind of see around, and you just see that kind of four-way pattern right before you.
So I guess I will move into the corridor and I guess go left. So what you're saying is, even if I step into the corridor, I'm not going to be able to see past where the next brazier is. I'll just be able to see that dim light being lit also.
I would say in a situation like this, it's more that you can kind of see the points of the braziers, necessarily that you can't see past them.
But what I'm saying is the overall level of light is, bare. You can see those, but not much else.
Oh yeah, in this place, everything technically is obscured to you.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I mean, it's just below total darkness or whatever.
Exactly. That's far closer to like what your vision is like in this place. But
Right.
these are not light where you can see. This is technically dim light where everything is lightly obscured.
All right, I'm gonna move to the crossway and just take a moment to listen.
Roll a perception check here. So taking a moment to just kind of hold at that corner, listening, trying to get a sense for if you can hear any sounds of movement in these halls. You don't hear the sound of any shuffling. You don't hear the sound of anything kind of tapping stone. This place feels silent. At kind of most at this point, you might hear like a little bit of like drip as some of the stone is being heated enough by the braziers that it melts some ice. But in the long run, this place is pretty silent and pretty deadened and insulated.
All right, then I'm gonna continue east as quietly as possible and give a listen at the door.
Gotcha. So you can move up to the door and roll another perception here. Brennick, are you re-barricading that door?
Not at this point with Lu Jianbao side. He's kind of waiting just on the other side. He's wants to be able to open it quickly if he needs to. So,
Gotcha. Your passive is 11.
pattern perception 11. Yep.
Gotcha. So moving forward to that next door on the east side of that hall, you can take a few moments to listen. And from what you can gather, there doesn't seem to be the sound of any burning charcoal. There's probably not somebody in there who's at least attempting to create any light. But when you came upon Dearth, he also didn't have any sort of flames burning in his braziers. So perhaps, yeah, and then give me a history check. You can kind of recall from Grandalfa that this was the room of the other son who was not mentioned as being here. So you have a pretty solid understanding that that room is probably empty at this point.
Then I'm gonna head to the south one and do the same thing.
And roll another perception check. So as you go to listen at that door, you don't really pick up anything kind of subtly happening there. All your ear is kind of latching onto is this kind of steady and consistent clicking sound, like cloop, doop, 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 doop.
All right, I guess I'm gonna try to quietly open the door.
Roll a sleight of hand. What were you thinking there, Brannick?
I was gonna say, I think Brannick is also just gonna have like a torch lit. He's gonna, holding it in his hand to kind of have a little bit of light back in here as well, and so that he can hopefully see a little bit if he has to go out. But he's essentially trying to like listen at the door to see if he hears like a call from Jinbao or something like that.
Gotcha, but you also mean that torch is like behind the door. You're not like trying to push light outside. You're trying to have it lit in here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you can rather silently slide that door open, and as you start to slide it open, a little bit of light is going to scatter out. And you will see inside of this room seems to be empty. You can hear that same clicking a little bit louder now. And as you kind of look around, there are braziers in between a large group of arrow slots, kind of cluing you in that these are some of the windows that you all would have seen from your entry into this location. And among some of the things that stand around are taller figures that are not quite dwarf height on most of them, but they seem to be training dummies that a monk would not be unfamiliar with, as well as four pieces of dwarven plate mail that are all lined up against the northern wall. And then in the center of this room, there's an iron cage from floor to ceiling, and within it, you can see two chains. One of them is going down, one of them is going up, and they are the source of this constant clicking sound as this room gets a little bit louder, and it's click, 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 click.
All right, I think at this point I'm gonna head back to talk to Brannick and see what he thinks.
Are you shutting that door behind you?
Yes.
Gotcha. Roll another sleight of hand. Excellent. So I think with how things go, as you're actually approaching, you can't really like turn invisible in plain sight. But as you get pretty close to Brennick, he's going to be able to see you. And realistically, that's kind of the first um, chance Brennick really has to have a solid understanding where you were. Other than like that little bit of light kind of drawing from in front of you, Brennick more or less lost you for that entire time. But you all can kind of continue. And what do you have in mind?
Yeah, so I think actually, like after Jin Bao went out, they would have actually closed the door, so Brannick wouldn't have seen like anything. So he wouldn't actually be aware of Jin Bao returning probably until either he heard him coming back or he did the knock.
Okay, I understand. That's why I was asking you about the torch, is I thought you were describing it like you were trying to look through the crack in the door still.
Oh no, more just listening. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but assuming like when Jin Bao returns, he does the knock, or he otherwise lets Brannick know that's him. Brannick will move to open the door back up, and then when like Jin Bao tells them about the, well, I'll let Jin Bao do that.
Yeah, based on I didn't check the one earlier southern route, but there appeared to be a training room in the room south of here with a large chain clicking throughout the longer than the length of the room, and it appears to the east was the if I remember correctly, the room of the dead brother of Darth. What could such a chain be used for?
Does it look like any sort of I don't know, lift or something like that? Was there a an opening in the either below it or above it? Based on the description, that's the first thing that would jump to mind. But
Yeah, I didn't think to ask.
if you didn't see anything too troubling, perhaps we could go take a look. Or if we want to wait a few minutes while we're still waiting for Velixis, I could I have a spell that might be of a little bit of assistance.
Yeah, with the current state of Velixis, we should probably err on the side of caution.
What is Brannick thinking about?
So Brannick is thinking of ritually casting detect magic while we're back in this room, and when with the still unconscious Felixis.
Gotcha. Um, so you're thinking about basically ritual casting that and then going and checking that room?
Yeah, so it would take a little over just over 10 minutes to cast it, and then if nothing happens in between, then maybe he'll like maybe this time like if Jinbao wants to wait and keep an eye on Elixis, then Brannick can attempt to kind of uh you know Jinbao gives him directions and he can go take a look for himself.
Yeah, let me get you each to roll a d12. Again, just Lucian Bao and so you can take the time to cast it, and when you finish ritually casting it, you can decide how you would like to proceed here.
I think Brannick is going to take the torch with him. he'll give Jinbao the option if he wants to come with Brannick or to stay and keep an eye on Velixis.
Maybe I'll station myself outside the door.
Sounds like a plan. So then, once they've kind of agreed on that, the Brannick will try to, quietly open the door and quietly start moving south through the corridor.
Gotcha. So you can proceed forward as such, kind of moving down. I don't think initially you're going to sense any magic in that actual room you were in. I don't think you will sense anything as you progress through the actual halls there. But as you approach the room, you are going to sense four different magical items in that room ahead of you. All of them are emanating transmutation magic.
Okay. Jinbao, do you think you would have, in describing the room, would Brannick know like what's inside, like the training dummies and the suits of armor?
Yeah, I definitely want to relay that. I didn't remember how big. I didn't ask how big the chain was, but the way he made it sound was like it was a drawbridge size chain. I that's what I'm picturing. And then the training dummies and the four pieces of the plate mail.
Yeah, so classic thing is if I am relaying information to you, everybody will get that information at some point unless you explicitly hide it. You don't necessarily have to relay everything in real time for that information to be passed on. If I'm giving you secret information, I'll pull you to another chat. So I think when you approach it and you start to sense that, you're going to know 100% that the transmutation magic is affecting the armors, the dwarven plate mails that are on that northern wall, because he would basically have described the braziers are all like in corners or between the actual arrow slots. The dummies are on the right and left sides, and then the dwarven plate mails are on the northern side. So I don't think there should be any question to you as you approach. But again, in the whole span of things, when you all are given information, that's the type of thing when you guys meet back up with your players in like the party, all of that gets shared between you. Maybe not when you're being silent, sneaking through a hallway. Like once you have time to conversate, it's perfectly fine to not have to repeat it to have that passed on.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Um, yeah. So I guess so Brannigan, yeah, he gets the idea that it's probably the armor that's giving off this magic. Would he have a an inkling of what that might actually mean, like the fact that it's transmutation magic and it's probably pieces of armor?
Do an arcana for me. I would say with the relative level of the spell, I think you'll recognize that there's a certain amount of danger with those armors. Don't think you have any in particular reason to recognize why. Um, but I think you would recognize that perhaps if they were actually like magical armors, somebody would probably have them instead of them being sitting here in the training room.
Yeah. Now Brannick's thinking like, okay, well, if it's a training room and we know that there are dummies for like the monks, maybe this is some sort of other, training, some sort of something used for training by like the warriors inside. Um, so I think he's going to play it safe and start quietly trying to make his way back towards Jinbao so that he can kind of share what he sensed without actually opening the door to the south.
Gotcha. So you can basically cross that hall again. Doesn't seem to have caused any alert or anything for you to have done this. What do you have in mind?
Yeah, so Brannick would share kind of his suspicions about that he sensed magic probably coming from the suits of armor. Um, could be dangerous. Maybe it's something that's used for training purposes, but it could also be some sort of like defense mechanism or something. And he'll say like he didn't get a look at the chain itself, but kind of leery about doing too much more exploring without Felix's backup.
Could have been 4 more mimics for all we know. Well, I guess while we're still waiting for Elixis, we should probably check out the room to the east too. It seemed unoccupied, but I didn't go through it.
Might be worth taking a look. Yeah.
I'll go this time. You can hang by the door.
Brannick will agree. He'll wait on the outside of the door this time, kind of like as Jinbao was doing before.
So I'll move up to the door on the east and quietly try to open the door.
Gotcha. Roll a sleight of hand. So as you open that door, this room is essentially entirely in darkness. You're not going to hear anything as like it kind of like has any initial opening. What do you have in mind when you open the door?
I'm gonna step inside, close the door, and light a torch.
Gotcha. Roll another sleight. Excellent. So as you kind of spark the first, yeah, let me get a dexterity check from you real quick. So the first time you try to spark this torch, you are going to see. Roll a. Actually, let me just roll. You are going to see the face of a canine almost like leaping out towards you with its mouth open and teeth bearing forth. What do you have in mind here?
Uh, how big?
Probably big enough to fit your head inside of its jaws.
I'm going to try to dodge out of the way and draw my sword.
Gotcha. Roll a dexterity saving throw. And then, oh wait, gotcha. And then roll initiative. This will just be illusion bow. So as you leap out of the way, the creature seemingly will miss you, but you are going to get bit from behind and take 3 piercing damage. So you have a creature that is likely in front of you and one that is definitely behind you. What would you like to do?
And it's pitch black, right?
Correct.
All right, I'm gonna make a dash for where I think the door is.
Gotcha. And you're just going to try to make your way out?
At least get my back to the door. Like preferably
Gotcha. So it's
to slam my back to the doors. Hopefully that Brannick will hear it.
gotcha. You could definitely do that. Effectively, the door would be open at this point. Oh wait, no. You said you were shutting the door and then you were lighting the torch.
Yeah, I was double dumb.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you can get your back to the door. Make an insight check. Excellent. So you think you have your back to the door. Um, Perhaps Brannick has heard it. Perhaps Brannick has not. What do you have in mind here? While he's thinking there, Brannick, let me get a perception from you.
Well, if I got what I think is my back to the door, I'm gonna try to reach for it with my free hand and open it.
Gotcha. So reaching for where you expect to find a door handle, you are just going to find the rather rough hewn stone of the walls of this place. At this point, it should dawn on you that you've gotten yourself turned around and you do not necessarily know where that door is.
I'm going to. I guess I got no choice. I'm going to sheath my sword and try to light a torch.
Gotcha. So you're not going to be able to light a torch this turn if you sheath your sword. If you drop your sword, you can try to light a torch.
I guess I'll drop it then.
All right, roll another dexterity check. So as you spark this time, you're going to see another head in front of you. As you see this horrific creature that seems to have um, like the head of a beautiful female, but it's like jagged, sharp teeth and the antlers of a large elk. And as the sparks kind of like sink in and the light starts to drain across this room, you're going to see that this probably wasn't a wolf that attacked you. As you look around, the wolf head is just on the west or on the north side of this room. There's a bear head that's right next to the actual door, and this head of think Liu Bao's come in contact with the Perytons in the past. Peryton is like the first one that caught your eye since sparking this torch, but this room is adorned with trophies of all of these different creatures. And this whole time you've been fighting trophies.
I scared myself.
That's my payback for people walking around without light.
Yeah. As soon as I did it, I was like, that was really dumb. So now that I've pissed my pants and learned an invaluable adventuring lesson, proceed to open up the door and then examine the room.
Yeah, you can do a perception check. As you open the door, the light is going to scatter out where Brennick would be able to kind of see um, at least the signs that he is moving with light. Basically, it's kind of like you're almost looking at the south side of that wall there, Brennick, and where your light is kind of starting to scatter and fragment along the stone, his is almost going to reach out. And they're going to kind of meld together. It's not bright in those positions because each of you are kind of almost blocked by other things before most of the light can get there, but it is enough that tells you uh effectively like he's at least now kind of moving around with the torch, and that would definitely be something for Brennick to like know this difference.
Yeah, so I think kind of as that happens, Brennick might kind of move around, just around this corner here to kind of like look towards and just make sure everything's copacetic with Lucian Bao.
Brannick, it was huge, but luckily I chased it off.
Let me get another D6 from the two of you.
And I'll also pick up my sword.
Gotcha. So while you're looking around Nildar's room, what kind of thoughts do you have there?
Uh, Contrast and compare to his brother's room.
Overall, the two are pretty similar. Each of them basically are like constructed in rather similar ways. Um, while the one brother's room, Dearth, who you all killed, was pretty sparsely decorated, this one has the heads of a cragcat, a grick, a male drow, a katoa, a troglodyte, a wolf, a periton, and a grimlock. So this one's like decorated with trophies of killed enemies, perhaps. This one has a pretty similar setup where the bed is constructed on top of what appears to be a chest.
You're not going to get me to fall for this. I say I shoot it with an arrow, Brannick.
The chest?
Yeah.
Suppose it couldn't hurt to be extra cautious, given what happened the last time.
I should note that this is a stone chest. I think both of them should have been stone chests. I'm not sure how I described the first one, other than that it was a chest. But if you would like to shoot an arrow at it, you are more than welcome to. Roll me a d20.
If this doesn't work, you can always mage hand it, I suppose.
So you can take a shot at the chest. It's not going to seem to do any damage to the stone itself, as you just kind of plink into it and the arrow kind of ricochets off to the side. Taking a look at the arrow, nothing seems to be affecting it. Doesn't seem damaged at all. You can resheath that. or requiver it. But assuming you then go in and actually open the chest.
Yeah, so Brannick is gonna pull out a crowbar from his pack, and he'll like he'll hold it out to Jinbao, like if you want to, use this just to like kind of poke it before you open it. You can do that. But it seems like this one might be safe.
I'll tell you what, if you guys try that with a mimic, it's not going to stop me from eating you with the mimic. But you can certainly do that. Crowbars don't give you like that much other than just the ability to leverage.
That's why I was thinking mage hand.
Yeah, I could do that.
You open the chest. How close are you guys?
Well, I guess Brannick would need to be at least within 30 feet. So he would probably, at this point, he'd be up, probably stepping into the room with Jinbao.
Where's Lu Jianbao? Is he cast Mage Hand to open it?
No, I would be by the door.
Gotcha. So you guys can open the chest. Neither of you can see inside.
Brannick will start to, he'll move up to it. Look inside.
So looking inside, you can see what appears to be a ceramic jug, maybe about like a gallon or like 2 liters. A drinking horn, or simply just a horn. And you can see a rolled up piece of kind of leather or like parchment.
I think Brannick will use he'll use the mage hand if the, assuming these items are 10, if they're 10 pounds or less, he will move to lift them out of the chest and kind of bring them to himself.
I think the ceramic jug is probably the only one that could get close to that. And I think even then it's still going to be probably right at, if not like a few pounds below. So I don't think you should have any problem there. But as you guys go through these, you're going to basically find out this is a rolled up drawing of a dwarf. You have yeah, just a drinking horn, and then it would appear to be some sort of alcohol in the actual jug. Other than that, it appears to be that this was all that was kind of contained in that chest.
Okay, so I think Brannick he'll toss back um, the piece of parchment. Yeah, guessing it's probably might be picture of Nildar or something. The drinking horn, similarly, he'll toss back. I think he might. Is it if the jug is like stoppered? He might unstopper it and take a sniff to see if he can identify what's inside of it.
Oh yeah, that's what I was getting at. Like at some point, if you guys pulled off the stopper, you could basically tell it's some sort of alcohol.
Gotcha. Okay. He might hold on to that.
Did you? Was Felixus the only person who drank with Grand Alpha?
I think Brannick did as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did also.
Gotcha. So you could recognize that as whatever sort of beer the dwarves seem to be drinking.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so Brannick he'll kind of feeling a little sheepish, he'll go and of all that you know extra caution, he'll move to close the chest back up, move back towards Jinbao, let him know kind of not too much of interest in there, but he'll kind of hold out the jug in case he wants to, take a swig, and suggest maybe they go back in, check on Valixis, and try to decide kind of next steps.
Yeah, because there's another southern passage that we passed over on the way to Darth's room. Might as well do that now. Again, why don't you hang out outside the corner of the room, and I'll see what I can see on the southern passage.
I don't want to tell you guys how to do things, but can you guys just like kick it with Rashad so we can try to bring Rashad back into the game?
That's what I was kind of trying to, yeah, kind of thinking after.
Like, I don't want to tell you how to play your characters, but at the same time, I don't want to leave Rashad out of the game.
Yeah, understood. Yeah. Well, I guess we would just wait for however long we gotta wait then.
Yeah. So hop back into that room and let me get another roll of a d6 from you guys. And then a roll of a d8. All right. So some 4 hours later, you guys are now early afternoon. Valixis is going to come back to consciousness. So Valixis, you can add 1 hit point to yourself, and that will then put you all at the point where you now technically need to take a short rest in order for Valixis to gain some hit points.
Yeah, I'll take the watch.
Yeah, seeing, kind of glad Valixis is back, but obviously still kind of a little weak. So Brannick is, yeah, he's fine with kind of take another hour to wait and hopefully he can get some of his strength back.
As with any short rest, you guys are effectively doing this together. You don't necessarily have to have a person on watch or people doing just this. Like, short resting is kind of just that. It's basically bandaging wounds and keeping an eye on your surroundings, like, at the same time. So do you have any hit dice remaining, Valixis, that you are set to kind of gain some hit points? Did
Uh,
Rashad oh,
no, I'm here. You said, do I have any hit dice remaining?
yep. I know you guys took a short rest last session. I don't know how many you used then.
Yeah, I got some.
So you are 1 hit point, assuming that you roll like your maximum hit dice. That usually is enough to get back to full hit points. So I would say pretty much any hit dice that you have, you probably want to be rolling them right now. Is that all set as far as short rests go?
Yeah, Brannick's good. So
Gotcha.
I'm pretty sure I
Alright,
already
that was my
used my. Sorry. I didn't have it marked off, but I'm pretty sure I already used my arcane recovery earlier. So
I believe you did on the first one, yep. And I think this would put you at the end of your second mage armor, towards the end of that rest as well.
okay, so yeah, he would cast it again.
And as far as things go, also, since you're not really doing anything on this short rest, there's no reason that you can't, like, basically ritually cast something like Detect Magic, as you all are nearing the kind of end of that type of thing.
Yeah, I think kind of like, again, like over the last like 10 minutes or so, while we're kind of getting ready to start out again, he'll go ahead and ritually cast it again. Yeah.
Gotcha. Do an intelligence check for me, and then roll a D100, please. So you guys being a little bit more prepared, having Felixis back and conscious, what are your thoughts as you all set off here afternoon inside of Sunblight Fortress?
Yeah, so Brannick will suggest that they now follow kind of Jinbao's idea, maybe check out that other southern corridor.
Yeah, there may have been one other one in the entrance that we passed over, but I know there's at least one on the southern. So we'll move up to that corner.
I'm going like, what southern corridor y'all talking about?
We skipped
Yeah,
over.
it follows.
Let me have everybody roll a d6, please.
And I think probably his other torch would have burnt out by now, so Brannick would light up another torch as we're moving back kind of into the and through the hallways.
So as you all kind of step out of this room and start to push forward here, let's see. Marching order right now is Lu Jianbao, Brannick, Felixis.
Yeah, I think that sounds right.
Gotcha. So at some point here, as you're kind of like moving through this little hall, maybe just like a little flutter of kind of wind moving through these halls, perhaps just like very unfortunate timing. But Brennick, your cloak is kind of going to just get like almost wedged in between two pieces of the brazier, and you're just going to kind of pull over that brazier with a loud kind of crashing, and everybody kind of holds still for a moment. And as the tension kind of releases, doesn't appear that anybody heard it. But there's that kind of piercing sound of that brazier kind of falling over.
So Brannick will like wince as it happens, and then I almost think of like it's like the bowl or whatever falling on the ground, and then just sort of ringing continuously for you know. And he'll kind of like be looking around, kind of his kind of hackles up, and then nothing seems to immediately happen. He'll kind of like whisper a little apology to Felixis, and looking towards Jinbao, and then kind of like nod to like, all right, let's keep going.
So at this point, I'm gonna light my torch as well and say, it's all for the best, Brannick. I prefer the direct approach, anyways.
So once you all have the torches lit here, you're going to see that same kind of hall to the south of you, opening up into a large pit. There is a portcullis that is dropped across the actual pit, preventing you from walking basically down into your death. But where you all are, you can kind of see down into this abyss that goes further than the light will travel.
This might looks like this might be how they made their way up in the first place.
Do we have a light source we can drop down there?
I don't imagine we'll be wanting to travel down there. Leave Grandolphus at Xardorok's on the second floor. We should look for for a set of stairs up or some means of getting up to the next level.
We'll have to go back west because, like I said, I think there were a couple passages we didn't explore because we were spurned on by the dwarf queen's minion.
Radical nod, and he'll make ready to kind of follow after Jinbao.
Willis follows down the hallway as well. I think we should check the door on the right first.
We checked all that.
I think that's where Grandolpha and her.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
the first one's Grandolpha.
If you go to manipulate that door now, you're gonna find it's locked.
Yeah, she's using us, so she doesn't want nothing to do with us anymore. It's win and live or die.
So if you all head back towards where you entered, to that first junction, you are going to see that there are stone doors to the north of you, and then to the south of you there is another room that is lit by the soft glow of these same braziers, and you'd be able to see at least a few of the very same arrow slits that kind of overlook the valley to the south of you.
Veronica is going to kind of nod towards the north, suggest maybe check out that way.
Agreed. Head
I think
north.
Lu Bao would be able to pick up the soft sound of a very similar chain, in kind of that same like action of clink 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 coming from the south.
Oh, maybe in that case we check out that source of that sound. Perhaps it's a lift or something.
Yeah, let's head to the south first and see what's up.
Very well. Hopefully it is a lift, not something amazing.
So moving to the south, you'll see again another room pretty similar sized as the training room. It's probably about like 40 by 20. Another similar cage that reaches floor to ceiling to the east of you. And that's where you can see these chains that are moving, one going up and one going down.
And like looking up above does it look like there's an opening above the cage or below it?
Like you're going up to it? Yeah, definitely. If you approach the cage and you're looking, you can definitely see that there is effectively a tunnel that goes up and a tunnel that goes down from there. That is effectively a shaft that has these chains that are running one up and one down with a pretty loud at this point clink 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 clink.
Okay. Do they seem to be moving? Like, is the cage continuously kind of moving, or will it have to be? Do we think it'd have to be manually pulled or you know manually used to like either like put get somebody up to another level or down to another level, or does it seem to be like on a continuous kind of loop kind of thing?
You could do a perception, an insight, or an investigation, and I'll give you different information based on what you choose to roll.
I think he'll try and investigate, see if he can figure out how this thing might work.
Look, the person who's talking to me is the person I give information to. I'm trying to encourage people to interact. I don't ever want to give free roles. I will call for them when I want them. Um, when you are looking closer at this thing, you have a pretty solid idea that the cage is made to prevent somebody from, like, falling into this shaft. The cage is a preventative measure. It has nothing to do with the actual mechanism that is moving here. I think that's kind of it at present. What is Lu Jinbao trying to do that you were attempting to incite? So what are you guys doing here?
Hey, Lucian Bao, do you think you can probably would you be able to maybe get through the bars if they're wide enough for you to and see where the shaft goes, if one which where it goes with the chain that's going up?
Roll a perception for me, Velixis.
When you say cage, how big are the bars? What just can you describe the cage a little bit more? Is there any apparent openings or?
Let me get this perception from Velixis. Velixis can see that there is a gate on one side, on the east side of this, for actually entering into the shaft. But otherwise, the bar-wise, it's specifically meant to prevent a body from falling into there, so I think there's no reason Lu Jinbao would be able to squeeze in. At this point, you guys are pretty sure that gate, these bars, are there to prevent people from dying.
Yeah, so Brannick will suggest let's check out the gate. Maybe there's some lever or something on the other on the inside.
Gotcha. Let me have all of you roll a d4. So, as you all are spending this time kind of investigating this structure, there's going to be a platform that gets up to this height, and it is going to pause at this level where there's basically a stone bottom in this room inside of that gate. And it's going to just kind of sit there as the chains begin to clank through it, seemingly on a clutch.
Brannick will suggest we take the opportunity and hop on. Maybe this will take us up to the next level.
Can we get the gate door open?
Yep, gate's not locked.
Ulysses opens the gate and goes onto the platform. This is for the others to come.
Let me get the first person to roll a die. Just have somebody roll a die. So as you all kind of hop in, you sit here for like 10 seconds, 30 seconds. Everybody just standing here while you're sitting here for like 30 seconds.
Brannick's ready to give it like a minute or two.
Gotcha. 40 seconds.
Okay, this thing isn't going anywhere. It came up?
Are you getting off of it, Velixis?
Nah, she's just expressing irritation that it's not moving.
While you're talking about how it's not going anywhere, roughly about a minute after it arrives, it is going to start to lower down.
Oh shoot. Oh, never mind. I guess we're going down. I thought it was going to take us up. How did it go down?
As it is kind of continuing on, you're going to basically hear, or as you guys are kind of continuing this conversation, you're going to hear as the clutch kind of engages, the chain no longer like clinks through the actual platform, and it is going to start lowering. And I think you all will be riding this elevator for approximately, I think, 2 minutes. As you just go down and down and down, let me get a wisdom from everyone. I think Velixis could probably have advantage on this for being a kobold. Son of a bitch. My maps aren't the same size. My bad, I'm just moving some stuff. I had to adjust the map. Like copy paste your characters, and they're definitely vastly different size compared to the other map. Like fitting on the elevator shaft to like not even remotely close. Very disappointing. Yeah, so oh wait, I can't do it in press alt, my bad. Psych. That is not enough. It's closer though. So I think that's most of it. While you all are heading down over the next few minutes, you're basically inside of. It's a rather smooth elevator shaft, like for what it's worth. It's pretty well constructed. You have a pretty solid idea that this platform is kind of a like well designed for like the cut through, as there's never really much of a gap between the actual stone and the walls. As you all kind of like watch down these walls, there's a certain sense that they almost smooth each other out, but at the same time, like there's no big signs of any damage, like where they would have kind of gotten stuck. This is very much like dwarven craftsmanship at its best, where like the utility of this is that it needs to work, and this is one of those things that's kind of created at the best, where like some of the living spaces are very austere, like you have those signs like this is meant to be perfect, and it is. What was that?
I was just gonna say, but listen, looking at that, remind me to have dwarves build me a home whenever I decide to build me
As you all are going down, I think between all of you, you have a pretty solid sense that you're going down about 200 or so feet, maybe 250, maybe 150. Velixis is probably thinking maybe like 175 to like 225, but you guys are roughly around that 200-foot mark, give or take. When the clutch is going to engage, you are going to, I guess, before the clutch actually engages, you all will kind of like see this room around you as the kind of floor opens up. There is not a cage around you in this room, but there is a massive cog that is going to show up on the east side of you, where you can hear this chain is actually running through it. And as the uh, as the the flooring part kind of like floats out into nowhere, like into the actual openness of this room, you're going to see this cog is probably about 10 feet tall, and or no, about 20 feet tall. It reaches like towards the ceiling, and it's about as wide, pretty much then a 10-foot radius. The flooring is no, that's a 20-foot. Yeah, 10-foot radius. Got it. It's a big square room, probably about 30 by 30. Four little braziers in each corner of it. It's not as smoky as some of the other ones because a lot of the smoke is actually going up that same shaft. And as the clutch kind of engages in this room, the platform is going to stop at the base. It's still going to have very loud sounds of the chain, as this is the actual like metallic wheel that is running the entire chain. So in this room, there's a lot less like visible chain that is moving, as the cog pretty much picks it up from the moment it comes out of the actual. I guess really it would probably go into the ground, and then the cog would have it. Yeah, but the contraption doesn't really matter as much. But you guys are inside of this very loud room. You have a door to the west of you, and at present can't actually see to the east of you, as the cog kind of blinds you of that perception.
Rennick is going to suggest that maybe we check the door to the west. Maybe have somebody keep an eye if this thing starts to um, rise again. Maybe we can grab a ride back up, but we don't know how long it's going to stay on this level. So maybe try and do a little poking around while we're down here.
Agreed. I think I'm still on the previous map.
Oh, whoops. Yeah, my bad. I didn't drag you guys over. Uh, I think you guys are probably about 30% over from the left, all the way towards the bottom.
Alright, so Felix is gonna hop up and start looking around, examining the cog and the door.
All right, stop trying to do two things at once. Do you want to examine the cog, or do you want to examine the door?
The cog first.
So, what are you looking for?
She's trying to see. She's trying to see if there's a switch or a way to stop the mechanism from moving. That way, if they need to start, that way they can keep it from leaving them, and then start it back up if, whenever they want to go back up, rather than wait trying to catch it on its way back up.
Gotcha. Roll a perception. What are Brannick and Lucian Bao doing?
So Brennick's moving towards the door. Probably going to be tough to hear anything over the noise of the cog, but I'll try to kind of listen to see if he hears anything on the other side of this door.
And Lucian Bao?
Yeah, same. I'll back Brannick up at the door.
So, the two of you listening at the door, let me get perceptions from you. So, while you all take a few moments to kind of listen at the door, Velixis looking over this cog, there doesn't seem to be anything that you can manipulate to change how this thing is moving. And trying to listen at the door, there doesn't seem to be any sound from without. But again, you guys are now kind of at the heart of this loud chain mechanism. So you're almost trying to listen between the like clink, 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 clink. It's pretty deafening in here. What are you all thinking?
We should probably Alyssa suggests we should leave the room and check see if there are any other rooms beyond the door. Um, because who knows if there's even another way down, and since the mechanism brought us down rather than continuing up, who knows if there's even another way to get up from above right now.
Makes sense. Yeah, Brannick will go to check the door, see if it's locked, and if not, he'll move to open it. Try quietly, trying to be quiet.
Gotcha. Make a sleight of hand. So as you open this door, slides pretty seamlessly, pretty well constructed. There's not really much for it to kind of like fail. You guys are again kind of coming across this idea that the dwarven construction is finely done. It is not for niceties or pleasantries. It is for utility. But as you open the door and the light kind of scatters across a gray face kind of staring back at you, you have a pretty solid idea that you are looking at a Duergar who is looking at you. What is Brennick doing?
So I think as Brannick sees the Duergar, he's going to say in Dwarvish, Xardorok or Grandolpha. Kind of like a question.
Roll a persuasion. As you kind of say this into the darkness, you're going to see as the dwarf kind of is going to slowly turn around and seem to stare away from you.
Brannick's going to glance back towards Jinbao and Velixis, kind of like nod with his head in towards the door. And I think he's going to move to step through into the room.
So as you open the door more further or more fully, you're going to see is there's another dwarf who, in same likeness, is now facing towards this western wall that is about 20 feet to your west. Each of the dwarves are armed. They have their weapons drawn. They just are basically staring away from you. Um, yeah, I'd say on some level you have this recognition. They're not saying it, but they are betraying Xardorok by basically not watching the door that you guys are walking through.
Right. So essentially that's kind of the way Brannick said it. Like when they turned around, it's like, okay, they're kind of like, we don't see anything here. Um, do we see, is that another door up to the north, or is this,
Yeah, as you look around, you're going to see that there are two braziers in that room and the door to the north.
okay, so Brannick is going to kind of move into the room. He's going to kind of like nod almost, kind of gratefully towards the Duergar, even though they're now looking in the other direction. And he's going to move up towards the northern door and similarly go to.
Let's see. Yeah, when you guys kind of slip out, these dwarves are almost going to switch positions with you. And moments before the lift actually starts to move again, they're going to hop onto the lift and they are going up.
Alrighty. Guess that's a good thing.
At least we know it goes back up.
Yeah.
So we should
we don't
try
know how
and
long it takes.
perhaps just to try and try and get a sense for timing if it's on any sort of timer.
Let me get an intelligence from you two wizards. You guys have a pretty solid sense that it was there for about a minute. At that point, you guys know it's going to be at least a 6-minute cycle.
So Brannicle, so just kind of while we're down here, might as well keep looking around a bit. Move to
Alright.
the move to the north door and go to open it.
And this is where you all can roll initiative.
4 months in, I still forget to click my icon whenever I roll on it.
Okay, I've got one woman who's been playing for like 2.5 years, and she still gets it like 1 out of 30 times.
God. Hopefully, I can remember to click it from now on, because that, damn.
Alrighty, so when you go to open this door, you are going to see a much taller room. Most of these have been like 15, 20-foot tall rooms. This one, the ceiling is probably about 30 feet. Probably can't tell most of it, as like many of these rooms, the actual ceiling itself is actually obscured in much more smoke than like the lower areas. Though, again, this is still an area where everything is obscured in smoke. You see a couple of braziers in each of the 4 corners. This room is about like 100 feet by like 50 feet. East to west longer than north to south, or I guess really right to left is longer than in front and behind kind of situation. You are very quickly going to notice a figure almost immediately to your right who is kind of like laughing and barking orders towards some hairy creatures that seem to be in kind of the center of this room. And there's like 4 or 5 of them. And then there appears to be a large creature in the far eastern side of this room. But as you all kind of first open and in, we are going to begin with
The icon to the far right is creepy as fuck.
I guess would Brannick have had to essentially walk through to the other side of this door before seeing this? Or should I keep my token where he is?
part of what it is opening the door is going to cause this next 6 seconds to happen. I don't think you guys are going to need to have accidentally walked into it to recognize that opening that door without looking was a big mistake. You got too comfortable, I feel like.
Gotcha.
But is it a mistake that will work in your favor, work against your favor? We will soon find out. All right, we are going to pick up perfectly with Brennick. As you open this door and recognize that there are happenings going on the other side of it. What are you doing?
Okay, so as Brannick opens this door, does he uh, recognize any of these creatures, like what kind of things they are? Is his attention?
Uh, at present, besides the quick little description I gave you, you're going to use action economy to try to identify what you're looking at.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think Brannick is just going to hastily try and pull the door closed again. And kind of as he curses, I think we walked into something to Shinbao and Elixis.
Felix is raising her eyebrows. What do you mean? I can't see him back here. What's in there? I could feel something, but I couldn't see.
Alrighty. So you can pull the door closed.
I guess, did it open inward or outward?
I abhor that question.
Well, like, is it something like we could try to essentially, like, are we trying to keep, like, if we wanted to keep them from
I
getting on the other
I
side?
understand what you're getting at. My point is that's one of those things nobody ever discusses this like in modules, so I have to decide. I think that is going to open into that room. So you guys are distinctly at a disadvantage to bar that door. But your first thought was to shut it. You're shutting it regardless of what you want to do now.
Yeah, I was just asking out of curiosity, because it might determine whether we try to hold it shut or retreat, or but that was just Brannick's first instinct was to shut it.
So after you shut the door, you are going to feel as a creature pulls on it here. I need a strength athletics from Brennick, please. So you're going to feel the pull. This creature does not have a good enough grasp to actually get the door open and out of your hands. Let's see. Another one is going to come for it, and same thing. Athletics from Brennick. Actually, I lied. You're not going to feel either of those. My bad. So after shutting the door, it is going to go to Bao.
Can I take it from where I'm standing? I could have gotten a glimpse as to what was going on also.
That's what I was saying. If I tell you guys as a group, you have the information.
So I'm going to hold my action to attack anything that comes through the door.
So that will be when you get the first pull, which Brennick will resist. And then Velixis, what are you doing?
Felix is ready to fireball and then tells Brennan next time he feels a pull to quickly open the door, and she's gonna release her fireball in at anything that's in the doorway, and then for him to slam the door back shut immediately.
All right, you can sure say that, but if he loses control of the door's not in his hand.
Okay, oh, okay, I think I get what you mean. So basically, if he opens the door and something grabs the door, that's it.
Correct. If he doesn't keep it shut, the door's not his to defend anymore.
All right. She does still suggest that. So, so because we can't stand here. As she also states that because we can't really just stand here door forever.
And that will take us back to top of the order on Brennick.
All right, so Brannick, and I think he understands Velixis is going to let go of the door. I think he's going to back up, and he is going to, I think, similarly hold a firebolt for the first thing he sees open that door or come through the doorway.
So the door is going to open. Velixis and Brennick can make their firebolt attacks. Each of those bolts are just going to kind of fly past the creature as these hairy kind of creatures are just kind of like pushing into this room. Lu Bao, you can make a sword attack. You also will miss the creature.
And I'm going to drop the torch just in case.
You can't do anything else right now. One of them is going to move out of your reach, Brennick. No, wait, you already used your reaction. Excellent. And this one is going to attack Lu Bao twice with sharp razor-like talons. The first one with a 13 should miss, second one with a 24 should hit, and it is going to deal 7 slashing damage to you.
Okay.
This one is going to move in, try to slash at Velixis. 18 should hit, and another should hit as well, for a total of 5 and 8, 13 slashing damage. And that's going to take us to Lu Bao.
All right, I'm going to attack the one on the west of me with the longsword.
Just dodging out of the way of the attack. It's going to miss.
Second attack, 16.
As you palm it, you will gain a solid strike into its flesh.
I'm gonna apply stunning strike to that one. DC 14 con.
I'm going to see as this creature seems to kind of freeze up and its muscles kind of tense.
And the last unarmed strike to the guy to the east of me.
Another solid hit.
I'm going to apply stunning strike to that also.
This one is not going to seem effective as it appears to continue to move, dash, and fight.
That's it for me. Agile parry is active.
Another one is going to move through. It is going to strike out at Lucian Bao. First claw will miss. A second claw should miss with a 15. What's your AC at right now? It's at 18.
Correct.
And that will take us to Velixis.
She's gonna cast a ice knife to the creature to her left.
I think there's still a token for Ice Knife under the spells for you that you should be able to place. I've got it set to Johan right now. Let me change that for Rashad. Why did Johan have Ice Knife? So the knife will hit. And they'll both fail, taking the 5. Oh wait, you and Lucian Bao have to make that save. That is not an evocation spell.
Oh crap! All right.
That is a save or suck, so it's no cold damage to Lucian Bao. It'll do 5 to you, Velixis. Any movement or bonus action from you?
I'm going to take the dodge action to back up a bit.
You already used the action to cast that spell.
Oh. Then nothing else.
Gonna go to Brennick. My bad. No, it's not. Psych. This one's just gonna claw out twice at Lu Jianbao. Both of those will miss. As the second is parried from his attack. Then we've got the two beams of a dark blackish like absence of light are going to spark out of the room beyond, and they are going to fly towards you all and towards Lu Jianbao. Both of them just kind of flying through the room, dissipating against the wall beyond you all. I think that should take us to Brennan.
Okay, so Brannick is seeing this kind of creature coming right towards him. Is going to hold out his hands, kind of almost like snap his wrist upward, and he's going to attempt to cast shoot like a puff of poisonous gas into this thing to his north. He's going to cast poison spray, which is a con 15 save.
To the one north of you, you said?
North, yeah.
And can you only target one creature with your poison spray?
It's
feel
got a
like there's
range of 10 feet, but I don't think it's a area of effect.
Yeah, I
think
feel
it's
like
one
there's
creature.
one kind of poison spray, though, where you can target two. I don't remember offhand what allows you to do it. No, it
I'll
doesn't
double
look like
check,
it's.
but it's a cantrip, so I would
Yeah,
guess
it doesn't
not.
look like it's basic one. I don't know whether it's like getting it from an ability or like a certain kind of creature that gets it like that. But the creature is inhaling deeply as you do strike this. It seems to inhale this poison.
I want to back away, but I'm kind of stuck, so no movement.
Javelin is going to fly in from the room toward Velixis. Don't think an 11 has any grounds to grab a hit up. And another one is going to fly in towards Brannick. You'd probably have at least like a +3 AC on this. 20 to hit you.
That will hit, even with the +3.
It's going to do 5 piercing damage to you. Next one is stunned. This one is to kind of like right or north of all of you. It is going after, I think that's still Brennick. 2 slashes with a 22 and a 14 to hit.
First one will hit, second will miss.
It will do 7 slashing with that first hit as it grabs into your flesh and just rakes through you. And that will take us to Illusion Bow.
Alright, I'm going to attack the guy to the southwest of me. That's west of Elixis with the longsword.
You are just able to hit it as it starts to dodge. You feel the slightest bit of resistance against your sword, and you're able to drag it through the flesh with a solid slashing action.
I'm going to apply Death Strike to that one. Nice. I'm going to attack the one to the east of me with the unarmed strike. Apply Stunning Strike to that one.
Its muscles will seem to tense up.
And then I'm going to follow up with the guy that I started with. Last unarmed strike to the guy to the west of me.
That will be a solid crit for another 10.
And then that is it for me. Agile Parry is active again. Somebody makey with the fireball.
The creature north of Brannick is visibly bloodied at this point. Yeah, one of these creatures is going to crawl over Velixis as it is going to strike out at Brennick. The crit will hit. The other one's going to be a big ol' miss, dealing 8 slashing damage to Brennick. It is then going to kind of retreat to the south, giving a opportunity attack to Lucian Bao. And then it will go to Velixis.
How much inspiration do I have, and can I use that to increase the amount of damage I do with the fireball?
How much what?
Inspiration do I have?
You cannot increase the damage of a fireball at all.
Dang. Alright.
But you have like 13 points of inspiration built up here.
Alright, so I am gonna cast Fireball. Hit everyone except my friends.
So you can place that where you would like to.
Didn't I do the roll for to see if it hit?
It doesn't have to hit. That's part of why there's that's what fireballs do, is they have to roll a saving throw.
Oh, that's right.
Are you trying to make people fail as they start to roll their saving throws?
Nah.
Alrighty. So I'm gonna do the to Duergar.
That one lived.
Anything else from Velixis?
Nah, I think that's it.
So you are going to see is one of the creatures to your left is going to burn. One of the large dwarves running up from the back is going to burn. Most of these other creatures are certainly severely burned, but they are otherwise still pushing forward as their flesh is singed. And 2 of the initial creatures closest to you all are now mortally wounded as their burns kind of set in, and you all start to see as these creatures are much more kind of sponge-like than any normal sort of creature. They seem to appear almost like a cat-like creature, but their actual flesh as they start to burn seems to be some sort of other material. This one is going to kind of leap over Lu Jianbao, 2 slashes at him with his claws. This guy's running up and he is going to... And he is going to reach out for this dwarf. And as his hand touches, the dwarf is going to start to almost shed the charcoal and burns from its body. And they are going to fall 2 more bursts of light are going to blast into the room. Yeah, my bad, actually. He's going to start chanting a spell from this back area, and you're just going to hear this chant as he says these words of power. I need a wisdom saving throw from Felixus. Son of a bee.
They the dice hit each other on the screen and rolled again.
This one's going to rush up over the carcass of the other, and he is going to huck a javelin at Velixis that will miss. And then one more, I believe, is going to rush forward, hucking a javelin also into Velixis, which should hit with a 23, and it should do, I think, 13 damage? Nope, 12 damage. And then that should take us to Brannick.
All right, so Brannick is going to pull out his hand. He's going to loose a firebolt at this badly wounded creature right to his north. He's going to use his last remaining portent dice, which is a 13, to give himself I think that'd be a 19 to or 20.
Gotcha. Solid hit.
For 11.
And that one will burn up with the firebolt.
And he's going to be backing up, kind of looking towards this other door to his right. But that's it for him.
I think he is just going to push in, and he is going to rush down on Lucian Bao with a war pick. 19 should hit, and it's going to be for 12 piercing damage. Duergar have resistance to spells. The other one is actually still alive that got burned up before.
And actually, Mara, sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. I was looking at my inspiration. So I actually didn't have a portent dice. So
I was vaguely thinking you used all of them.
Yeah. So can I use however many inspiration I need to have turned that 10 into a hit instead?
How many inspiration do you think that is?
Uh,
Because that's closer to what it is with inspiration.
I'll use 4.
Excellent. That is a hit, and it will still kill. Another Duergar hooking a javelin in towards Velixis. At this point, probably a +2 AC. I think a 13's a miss. And that will take us to, that's the Illusion Bow.
Well, I'm going to attack the Duergar to the north.
Is going to deflect off of all of its armor.
Follow it up with the unarmed strike.
Plings into a wall.
Oh, last one. There we go.
Deflects off of its shield.
That's my turn. The Agile Parry is active.
Two claws from behind to Velixis. For what it's worth, I feel like this one's still on top of Velixis. What is it? The 12? I think that's still a miss. And I will go to Velixis.
Okay, she casts this. Yeah, she casts a. Where's that? Sorry, she's gonna cast Fireball on the one behind her.
Gotcha. At a straight roll, disadvantage and advantage. Solid strike into it. That creature is going to crash to the ground as the last of its life is burnt from within.
All right. After that, can I retreat backwards?
You certainly can try.
Actually, no, she's not gonna retreat backwards. She's gonna wait. That's the end of my turn.
The creature to your left is going to slash out at uh, Velixis with its claws. First one will crit, second one will miss. Digging deep into your flesh, it is going to deal 10 slashing damage as it rakes across your body.
Okay, so that 20 is what hit is the hit, right?
Yep.
Can I use 8 of my inspiration to make that a miss?
Nope. A crit is always a crit.
Oh, dang. All right.
You can change a 19, but you can't ever change a crit.
Oh, okay.
doesn't even have to close in. From outside, you're going to hear chanting coming from one of these smaller creatures that seems to be kind of like a furry animal sort of thing, like these other guys you are fighting. And as this creature starts to chant, the weapon in your hand, Lu Bao, is going to start to heat before it starts to glow red hot. And you are going to take 6 fire damage. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw, please. There are going to be 2 like bolts of this black like anti-light that is going to fly into this room. Each of them towards the Velixis. Yeah, 12 misses. And I think we are back to yeah, I think just a javelin flying into the room towards Lu Bao should hit with a 24, dealing 8 piercing damage. And then another javelin being thrown towards Brennick with a 18 to hit.
Yep, that hits.
And it should do 8 piercing damage. And that will take us to Brennick.
All right, so Brannick's looking bloodied after that last javelin. But he is going to, I think, charge back up, and he's going to just unleash a burning hands into the Duergar and the basically like kind of through the doorway to whatever he can hit, going straight up.
Gotcha. I think you could hit the 4 that are basically on the other side there.
And you'll see he kind of like he's definitely like kind of like looking wan and kind of slumping over as he casts that. So the fires kind of extinguish out.
So you will see as one of these large creatures is going to burn up and is going to shrink down to its normal size. Another of them seems the other 3. What was it? Yeah. The one closest to you is going to be mortally wounded as its burns are almost entirely over its body. And then the other two seem rather unaffected. Yeah. And that will take us to the one closest to you two. Mortally wounded. It is going to strike out at Lu Jianbao. It's a 23 should hit. And it is doing 10 piercing damage with its war axe.
Okay.
Bam. And then it is going to push through the doorway, standing over top of Elixis. And that will take us to Illusion Bow.
I'll start with Mr. Mortally Wounded to the south.
It deflects off its armor. Just through its shield, you're able to get into one of its pressure points.
I'm going to apply Death Strike to that one.
And what else would you like to do?
Still standing, I take it.
You guys have to finish your turn before you are finding out what happens to creatures, because this is all happening at the same time. You've got a solid strike on that creature. Are you punching it again?
Yeah, that one
All right,
misses.
that one's going to get deflected against its armor.
On our Agile Parry is active, and that's the end of my turn.
That creature is going to crumble, shrink, and die. And that will take us to Velixis. Oh, shit. No, didn't matter. You have disadvantage with that sword while it is red hot.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I thought I was going to drop it.
You there, Rashad? What is Velixis thinking?
This creature to her left, she's going to hit it with a. She's gonna hit it with another ice knife, but she's not. She's aiming like to go through it at a good bit of distance, so she doesn't get hit with any of the.
It's definitely not how Ice Knife works.
Okay, then not.
Ice Knife hits the creature you're aiming at and explodes and hurts everything that's next to that creature.
Oh, that's. Yeah, but sure does. Okay, nah, magic missile.
And the clutch is that it is not a evocation spell.
Magic missile then on the creature. Hello.
What level?
It is second level.
So you can roll 4d4, or you can just click it 4 times. I don't think you did much damage to them, but these things are immune to poison spray.
I think I hit one for 3.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. One more, Rashad. 4 total missiles. It's definitely the problem with, like, a combat with one type of creature is very boring. A problem with 7 different types of creatures is just really hard to keep track of. So 5, 9, 11. Any more movement or bonus action from Velixis?
She's gonna back up. She's gonna back up because she's trying to avoid taking more damage.
Where are you backing up to?
Right about there.
It is going to slash out at you. Yes. But those missiles will pierce through its flesh enough that you can see that creature is showing signs of being wounded. They don't bleed blood, though. We're just gonna go for they've got like an oily kind of secretion that's kind of squishing out of those 4 points from the missile. And it is going to go for Elixis. That's going to close that same ground, move forward, slash out at you 2 more times, both of which should miss. Bonus action, 3 more fire damage to Lu Jianbao. And I need you to make a Constitution saving throw. Oh, it's on all attack rolls. It's not even with that weapon. I'm not sure if that was a hit. I'm not sure if you really did much with that one, but that one would have been a miss. Yeah, that killed one of those dwarves. Yeah, 2 more blasts of light or anti-light are going to fly through the doorway towards Velixis. And a 14 and a 15, each of them should hit, dealing 9 and 14 damage for a total of 23 more.
Okay, so can I use inspiration to make those miss, or
Yes.
okay? So I'm making
How much inspiration are you putting into them?
for the 14. I'm putting 2, and for the 15, I'm putting 3.
Yeah, you gotta let me know ahead of time when you want to make something miss, because I'm not gonna tell you the number. Like, the point is not for you to be able to do it when you know how much to do. It's supposed to be you're trying to influence things without knowing.
Okay.
We are
My
gonna
bad.
go to a mace into Brennick. Big ol' miss. And this one is going to, I think it's just going to stay behind and throw a javelin at Velixis, which will miss, and it will go to Brennick.
So Brennick, kind of in desperation, starting to get a little panicky. He's badly hurt. He's definitely kind of like he's on his last legs. Is going to stab out at the creature to his southwest with the dagger in his hand. And I'm gonna use some inspiration. These 4 more
Last
inspiration.
time 4 was successful, yep.
Yeah,
So
I'm gonna do this.
turn that into a hit.
And he's not moving, so that's all for him.
Gotcha. And that will take us to Illusion Bow.
I'm gonna drop the sword and attack the guy to the south of me with it'll be all unarmed strikes from here on out.
As it's reacting to getting stabbed, it's just moved slightly out of the way of you, and you just get a big old air ball.
Another one.
Solid strike, anticipating its little bounces.
I'm gonna apply death strike to that one. And then I'm going to attack the guy to the northeast to be in front of Brannick with my last arm strike. Agile parry's active. That's end of turn for me.
Isn't your deft strike a part of your Kensi weapon, and it also costs you a key point? Isn't one with the blade, you have to actually be using your Kensi weapon. And then the deft strike is for 1 key point, you can deal that damage. Are you burning a key point every time you deft strike?
Yes.
That seems like a really high price to pay for a D6.
Well, it grows larger with your martial die.
I mean, I don't disagree, but you've got stunning strike versus the D6. It just does not seem like a good trade-off. But can you do that when you've dropped your sword? I don't think you can deft strike there. Are your fists Kensi weapons? Because I don't think so.
You are correct.
Yeah, your Kensi weapons are monk weapons, but they're not one and the same.
Right. In that case, I would have gone with stunning strike.
Gotcha. That one is going to freeze up. And that was on the 24. So then the next one's with advantage, but that's still going to miss. And that creature is mortally wounded. And it will go to Velixis.
And that and it's paralyzed, right? Or just mortally wounded?
It's stunned. Stun is close to paralyzed, but they are not the same thing.
Okay, okay. I'm going
That
to.
last strike was supposed to go to the Duergar in front of Brannick.
Okay, my bad. Still a miss.
Okay, right. The death strike turned
They're
into
more,
something. Yeah.
yeah, they're more
Yeah.
heavily armored than the actual Quagos.
I'm going to cast Fireball on this creature to the left of me.
If you move away from it, you have just advantage instead of being a straight shot. Can you get disadvantage when something's stunned? I don't know if it can give you disadvantage, but regardless, I think you should move away from it.
Okay, yeah, I'll back away and cast Fireball.
Solid. 4 hit points left. Double crit. Incredible waste. It's dead though.
Oh, the Firebolt of all things. Ugh. Fault. But at least it's dead. Alright. That'll be it for my turn.
Liu Bao's sword is going to kind of slide across the stone and be pulled into the room in front of you guys. Two more bolts of light are going to fly out towards Liu Bao. 20 to hit and a 10, so one of those should hit.
20. Yep.
And it's going to do, I think that was a +4. I think it's 8 force damage to you. Yep, 8.
Okay.
A military pick to Liu Bao. Big ol' miss. And another one is going to try to slam its pick into Liu Bao, also going to miss. Pretty much those two are both just smashing into stonework, trying to get to him. And Brennick, you guys are pinned between two of these. You see one of these creatures kind of fleeing, the sword of Liu Bao being kind of dragged through this room ahead of you. And what would you like to do?
Yeah, so Brannick is he's wants to try and get back, so he's going to turn, and again he's just going to stab out with his dagger at the Duergar between him and Felixus.
Gotcha. Big ol' miss on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
On to Liu Bao.
I am going to sound the full retreat. I don't know if we can get to the next room where we came in, but we're going to die if we stay here. And I'm going to attack the guy to the south. And I'm gonna apply my last stunning strike to that one.
DC 15 for your stunning strike, or you hit a
14.
14? Make breaks. He is going to start to tense up before he almost shakes it off, and you see as he kind of flexes his muscles, he seems unaffected.
Then the last two unarmed strikes for him.
First one's just going to plink off of metal. Second one finds a weak point, and you can drop a little bit more into his flesh. Should take us to Velixis, unless you would like to move.
No, that's the end of my turn. Agile strikes active. Agile parry.
Without a weapon in hand, you shouldn't have it.
I don't think it makes a difference for the agile parry.
No, it definitely needs to have a Kensi weapon. While the weapon is in your hand and you are not incapacitated.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, that's the end of my turn.
That will take us to Velixis.
I'm going to cast suggestion on the dwarf in front of me and have it to run back through the door and tackle the dwarf that's in the door to the ground.
What language are you saying this in?
Common.
Excellent. Anything else from you?
I'm after that. I'm also going to step back a bit as well. Like right, right, right about here.
When you step back, it is going to swing on you with a 12 to hit, should miss.
Yeah, that misses, and that's it for my turn.
Let's see, this one's going to swing on Brennick from below you. 14 to hit. I think that's a miss on Brennick.
That'll miss. Yep.
And then this one from the other side going for another attack on Brennick. Same attack. And it will go to Brennick.
Yeah, Braddock is still just trying to get some space towards the door, so he's going to again stab out at the Duergar below him or south of him.
That one will get right past its shield, grabbing a little bit of flesh. Anything else from you?
He's still kind of pinned, so no.
You'll see as you like pull your knife from that creature, just like gushes of blood coming from it. That was a solid mortal wound. That creature is mortally wounded, and it will go to Lu Jianbao.
That's a miss, so I'm going to hit it again.
Which one you going for? South one?
Yeah, mortally wounded guy.
Gotcha. Solid strike with that one.
And I am going to. Yeah, I'm going to finish up with the same thing on the mortally wounded guy.
Gotcha. So as you pummel it, that creature will collapse to the ground, shrinking back to its normal size, and it will go to Velixis.
I'm gonna cast Firebolt on the dwarf that's in the door.
Solid strike. Excellent burn. Anything else from you?
Nah, that's it.
You'll see as an entire chunk of that creature's armor is melted with the firebolt. That creature is mortally wounded as well. And it is going to strike out. It is going to push through. I think it's going to strike for Brannick. Brannick is the only one who's bloodied right now. Everybody else is over 50% health.
Oh God, no.
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
at 7.
Yeah, when you guys are mortally wounded, you can use the same counters. Red is bloodied, pink is mortally wounded. Everybody can see these states just normal. So on some level, you should be marking those for yourselves, because that tells me a lot about who's targeting who as well. Yeah, that one's going to go for Lu Jianbao. And with a 19 should hit, and it's going to deal. That should knock you unconscious, and it's going to go to Brennick.
Yeah, Brannick is going to stab out at the mortally wounded Duergar. Trying to finish it off.
Solid hit.
I think no sneak attack.
Yeah, correct.
Um,
Is that all from you though?
so he's gonna try and move, kind of circling around. He doesn't want to get too far from Jin Bao, though. I think so. He's gonna stay there. I think, kind of almost
Gotcha.
like as he's pulling out the dagger, almost kind of reaching to start trying to drag him, but obviously can't do it this turn. So
As you are pivoting around that creature to try to position yourself, it is going to begin to shrink and die as it falls to the ground. So you all are back in a pretty similar situation that you found yourselves recently. It sucks ass not to have any sort of healer pushing through these things. Let's see. Lu Jianbao, whisper me a death saving throw, and then Velixis, do a medicine check for us. Gotcha. So you all can stabilize Lu Jianbao. You are right behind the throne room inside of this castle. There is still a creature up against the rightmost wall inside of there. But otherwise, you all seem to have a respite here. What are your initial thoughts?
Uh, I was gonna say, can we tell if the creature is bound to the wall or something?
You can make a perception check. You cannot tell. All you've got really is that the creature is there and it hasn't attacked you.
Brannick is going to start trying to drag the unconscious body of Jinbao back towards the door to their to the east, back towards the platform room.
So you can drag essentially half speed. For what it is worth, you can at that point basically move 15 feet the first turn. You got 30 feet any turn after, since you basically have to grapple him and then you have him grappled. But you can pull him in there. Let me have you roll a D. $12. So when you pull him in there, you're going to hear like the cacophony of the chains again. You're going to see that there is currently no little landing thing in here at present. What are your thoughts as you all get in here? You do not yet have the platform.
So Brannick's going to like turning back towards Velixis, like maybe we can use those dead bodies, try to block off this door as best we can. Hope this thing will reach us soon. Uh,
Yeah, I was definitely gonna suggest the same thing. So, in all honesty, we don't know what's up above because the door we did see two of them leave and go up top earlier. So, yet they didn't stay to attack us. So we assume. So say I guess it would be safe to assume that they're not against us, but at the same time, it's gonna be risky. That's where either whatever we do right now is risky with what we have.
and if you're the praying, so I'd pray those whatever's remaining in there doesn't come after us. I have no intention of forcing the issue against them. And with that, Brannick's gonna do his best, essentially just try and pile up some bodies kind of in front of this doorway.
Felix helps drags the bodies as well.
You all are going to notice that there are effectively 4 bodies from what you've done there. Most of the creatures that you all killed there, the cat-like creatures, they all burnt up like they were punk, almost like wood. There's nothing left of their bodies.
Like, I was almost thinking more the Duergar bodies.
Yep, that's what I mean though. There's really only those 4.
This I have to do.
I'm out of any, don't have any other ideas, and I'm completely tapped out.
So you guys can make a little carcass farm for yourselves. Got the body of Liu Bao. Liu Bao, whisper a D4 to me, please.
I think I screwed that up.
Yeah, whisper 1 to me. But yeah, during the course of setting up the bodies, you all are going to have this platform come down and probably like interrupting. Probably really you can't even drag all of the bodies before it arrives there. Let me get a D100 from Velixis. So you're like dragging the second body into that room when it arrives, and you guys have to make that decision. Like, do you continue doing things, or do you just accept this and hop on and wait to ride it up?
Brannick is definitely of the opinion that we need to get the heck out of here. He's sorry that he knows Shinbao's lost his weapon, but I don't. You try to get it back, we're more than likely dead. So he's for his votes for essentially getting onto that platform.
Alexis agrees.
Gotcha. So you all can hop onto the platform over the next few minutes. It is going to start. It'll like hold this position for a minute, start to move up over 2 minutes as you all kind of progress up towards the next level. And it is going to stop on that middle level where you all originally started here. Damn, I shouldn't have said it like that, but you guys now know that was the bottom and there is a way up, so I don't think it's that much of a spoiler. What do you all have in mind as you get back to this room you were once in?
Alexis looks around the room to see if anyone's in there. Brandon, we could probably go back to the previous room where we fought the last guy and take a rest in there, whether it be a short or a long rest in there, and recoup. Because if we try to do anything further, yeah, it's gonna be over for us.
Yeah, see that or try and perhaps barricade ourselves in that barracks room closer.
Alright, so while we're pulling them about his body, we go ahead and start headed to the next room.
What room are y'all thinking?
He said the room where it was. I said the room where where we fought the last guy, where that mimic was that we killed, and Brennan suggested the armory room. I see what you mean. Wait, so Brennan, which one are we going to? Because I know the armory room. It seemed there was something like it seemed like there was chains going through the room, and like the armor was enchanted as to where the room we killed the mimic and the other guy. Um, we know for certain we know that room was empty when we left it. We could check both the rooms out, but
So Brannick will explain. He meant the barracks room where we fought the first group of Duergar when we first came in.
Yeah, that room would be closer to here, wouldn't it? All right. So yeah, we start to head out and head to the left with Finbow's body.
Any light on y'all at present?
Felixus, I think I can get the body if you can light a torch so we can see. Or actually, I can still cast Mage Hand, and although I have to think I have to direct it to move. So yeah, Felixus, if you can light a torch, I think I can.
Yeah, I'll light a torch and head on.
I do think you would be able to do that in the long run. You just wouldn't be able to do it like at the same time as when you're picking him up.
Oh, so like
Right.
move it and then wait a bit, pull the body.
Yeah.
Move. Yeah.
Once you
Gotcha.
grapple him, he's grappled. Like you don't have to like re-grapple him with your action every turn. And I think it is your action to move the mage hand, but that's quite literally all it is.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I don't remember which of those actually had dwarves come out of them, but I know some of the rooms were effectively revealed at some point. So you guys can kind of push back into that room. At this point, it would probably smell a little bit less friendly than it did when it was just stinky dwarves, but it's probably not horrendous at this point. You all would kind of cross that same point where you've got the room up to the north of you, the hallway off to the east. You would see pretty similar signs of the braziers to the east and to the. Yeah, I think that's kind of it right now. Like 2 more braziers off to the east and kind of that room there as you all explore. Yeah, I feel like that's solid. And what do you all have in mind as you get into this room?
These tables that are in here, are those part of the ground or mounted to the ground in any way, shape, or form? Can we tell?
All of their furniture is stone, so I would say more than likely they are certainly not mounted, but they're probably not easy to move.
Got it. Got it.
That was one of the things I noticed after I let you guys move the bed. The bed is definitely stone.
And given the dwarven construction of the door, I would assume that because Brannick is carrying around a lock, but I assume that wouldn't really fit this door, right? Like I couldn't use it to
A
lock this
lock?
door. Yeah.
I don't think so, because I feel like that would be like a padlock.
That's kind of my thinking. So just wanted
So
to.
I think it would be more you'd have to have almost like chain to try to do something with that. But yeah, I don't think that's going to give you any afforded safety inside of this room.
Yeah.
We could always move the bodies in front of the door.
Yes, I can also I can set up a magical alarm, perhaps in front of the door on the other side,
That would help
and
too.
suggest we just try and keep quiet and hope we can stay under the radar for at least until Jinbao wakes up.
All right. Agreed.
So Brannick would, assuming if he can, he would start to spend the time to ritually cast the alarm spell, intending to set it up right on the other side of the doorway out in the hallway, and he would make it a mental alarm.
What is that, a 10 by 10?
It's like a 5-foot square, I think.
20-foot cube.
Oh, so I would make it.
So I think you could get. Is it 20? A 20-foot cube should be a 20 by 20. That's a very weird way to say it, I feel like. But yeah, I feel like that's a 20 by 20. So I think you could get. But see, that's the same thing. They hate calculating area because it's math. But I feel like you could do a 30 by 10, which would let you cover like much more of that entrance area. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's viable for you to actually do something like.
Yeah, so I guess the way I think of it is that when it says no larger than a 20-foot cube means it can't be larger than 20 feet in a side. So it essentially do like a 20 by 10 to try and get as much of the hallway as I can.
But that's what I mean. Like a 20-foot cube has a 40 or a 40, an 80-foot, not circumference, but perimeter.
Area, volume.
So if you had an 80-foot perimeter, I think what I drew there is the same idea, where it is an 80-foot perimeter and gives you much more coverage. Because you are effectively drawing this line that if anything crosses, that's how I interpret it. That you don't necessarily have to be like inside of the cube, but anything that happens inside of that cube would alert you.
Right. Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
want to draw what you have in mind, that is perfectly fine.
Well, I guess I don't know, like if it can be shaped to essentially kind of, like the way you have it here. If it, because essentially, because like this is like,
Gotcha. So then, with that in mind, I think it would be perhaps something closer to doing. Oops, I did not mean to have that. Like I think that's about 20 by 20. You can't really see all of it because I have it kind of hidden, but that is a way to basically create the largest possible cube. That gives you like that idea, and obviously nothing can walk through the wall, but it doesn't tell you that you have to like trace the outline.
yeah, it just says an area within range, no larger than a 20-foot cube.
No larger than the okay, so it doesn't have to necessarily be 20 feet.
Right, I could make it like 10 by 10 or 10 by 20. It just can't, I think, it can't be any larger than 20 feet on one edge or one side. So up to, what would that be? 400 square feet. But yeah, so I think just essentially just like the, um, 20 feet into east into the hallway and 20 feet up and down, or at to the edge of the wall. So not that, except like that, except only 20 feet. Not, I think I put it out too far to the right. Yeah, essentially like that. Yeah.
And after you guys get that set, get back inside of the room, what thoughts do you have?
Alexis pulls out some rope and wraps it around the doorknob of the door. Brannick, can you take this end of the rope and tie it to one end of the table down there, and I'll tie it to the other end of the table down here? Just extra precaution. Since the tables are stone, it should give us a little extra leverage on the door as well, just in case they get past your alarm. I mean, it'll alert you, but still. Never be too safe.
Yeah, I mean, Brannick will do his Felixis request. Not sure how exactly that will work. Essentially, it'll be like when the door opens, it'll be unless. But I mean, yeah, Brennick will follow.
I feel like that's the classic. What way does the fucking door open? I
Oh,
think
dang.
here, since it's a guard room, so you can't block them, so they have the advantage on like pushing out. I don't really fucking know. I'm about to create a world where doors move in each way, so there's no way you can do stuff like that. But I think this is where like Larry with like fire code like blew my mind, because I would think having that door open out into the hallway would be how it is designed, so they can force their way out to fight anybody coming to them. But I think that also makes it easiest for somebody outside to barricade it, where if you pull it in, they have to. Yeah, I guess if it pulls in, because if you pull it in, somebody outside has to try to hold it from being pulled, versus you can put something heavy outside of it to block all of the guards in. So that door pulls in, tying it to the tables would not help.
Yeah, so maybe just kind of again, maybe like your initial suggestion, Felix, is just maybe try and stack up a couple, stack up some of these bodies in front of the door. I don't know what else we can do. We're not gonna be able to move those tables and
Yeah, I think the other thing for you all to recognize is that if somebody discovers you here, you guys aren't going to be able to hold that door. They're fucking gigantic.
yeah.
They don't lack for strength. These things destroy stone as a hobby.
Yeah.
So let's see. Who's your bow? You never rolled another D4 to me in a whisper. I rolled one, so we're taking that. What are you guys doing as you kind of feel a little bit barricaded? You've got the alarm outside. What kind of thoughts you got going on right now?
Brannick, we can. I'll might be dangerous to do, but I want us to attempt to basically take a long rest here. So I want to attempt to at least get some sleep, because since we've been in here, it's been one fight after another, and these creatures are very strong. And if we continue to fight, we're not going to be able to hold much longer. So, do you want to attempt to try to rest for at least 8 hours here, if we're able, taking shifts and watching?
I mean, yeah, Brennick wants to definitely stay up until Shinbao awakens, and then kind of, we can decide what we're going to do next. Because definitely we're in a precarious spot here.
You guys are also looking at probably early afternoon. At this point, this is one of those situations where you guys don't really have resting as a viability without burning a few hours regardless.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, because like it'd be, if we take a short rest, we're still gonna burn hours. And
Well, that's what I mean. There's not short rests for you either. You guys have had 2 short rests. I do not offer a world of infinite short rests.
right. Okay.
Your adventuring day is essentially you guys have to find a way to survive these next like 13 to 15 hours before you can actually like wake up refreshed.
I mean, immediately, Brennick's just thinking, okay, we need to wait here until Jinbao wakes up.
Gotcha. Let me have the 2 of you roll a d4. Let's take a quick break here. I want to design something. We're basically going to come back and find out what's about to happen because some sort of shit is about to hit the fan and change. And we'll kind of see. But I'm going to create a little table to let you roll to see what it is before we get there.
All right.
All right. I thought of a few potential things. I wanted one more. Wanted it to be potentially favorable for you all. Can you all think of anything that could be a random, potentially favorable outcome that you can spitball right now? What do you guys got in mind?
Um, like in terms of somebody showing up or finding something, it's what are the kind of parameters that were.
Yeah, effectively, I don't want to like spoil anything by actually giving you all a reason, but I came up with 9 out of 10 ideas, so I'm trying to see if you guys had anything in mind. Perhaps anything that I was just like, completely left out of mind.
And the only thing I can think of at the top of my head is like kind of while we're waiting for Jinbao to wake up, we're essentially doing like a, you know, uh, like tossing this whole kind of all these rooms inside out, looking for anything that could help him. But um,
Yeah, either that or the creature downstairs being friendly and just following and helping us. But also, yeah, that or by some other magical means we are pulled out of here to somewhere else that's preferably safe, whether by accident or on purpose.
Alrighty. Let's go for a D100 from Don. Close to needing it. Yeah. So while you all are barricading the door and kind of hunkering down for this initial spot of time, you are going to hear. Let's see. Think a few taps at the door, and you're going to hear in Dwarvish. Is someone in there? Things happened. This door was open. Is someone who might not feel they belong in there?
Felix remains quiet as a mouse.
You wouldn't understand it anyways. It's in Dwarvish.
so Brannick is gonna he's gonna look towards Felixis. He's going to try to quietly step over and kind of like whisper to her. They want to get in, they can get in anyway. Have to pray that they're not men.
Felix kind of shakes her head.
I think Brannick is going to shake his head. He's gonna um going to move towards the door, and then in Dwarvish, she's going to say, "Are you with Rodolpha?"
Make a persuasion.
And I might use whatever's left of my inspiration on this. I'll save it.
The response you're going to get. We heard word that Xardorok has fled the throne room. The command level is ours. You are them?
Willis is kind of just staring at and then trying to figure out what they're saying, waiting just to find out if they're safe or if they're dangerous. Because she's not.
So Brannick in Dwarvish will respond, "We fought a pitched battle downstairs in the level below. May have been Xardorok. I don't know for sure." And then he's going to, after he says that in Dwarvish, we'll try to turn and essentially translate it back to Velixis in Common. Like keep her in the loop.
That's gonna get kind of work right now.
Um, think the response you'll get here is if you seek shelter, you may have it. If you would leave, you may go.
He still intends to honor our agreement to finish Xardorok, but we're in no shape to do so at the moment. And give us shelter for this night. We will endeavor to finish things needed tomorrow. Again, in Dwarvish, and then if there's time, translating into Common for Velixis.
there may not be another chance for you. There may not be another chance for Xardorok. The damage is done. His forces are split. Is your will so strong?
If he is no longer a threat and Randolpha can do as she said she would and return you underground, then perhaps our task is complete enough. But should we need to chase after him, we can. Uh, just not right now.
Your damage is done. Xardorok may be routed to the Underdark. The Duergar may return where they came from. That is not your choice. You can leave free, or you can stay to find the new rule of Sunblight.
So Brannick's going to turn towards Felixus and in common say, don't look forward to trying to travel in our current condition, but perhaps it would be best if we took the chance and made free of this place while we still can.
If they are not gonna leave and they're gonna, so I'd rather not fight anyone else, especially not in our condition. We did have a deal with them, so let them keep it. But if we're able to leave, we might have to. If we need to, I feel like we best. If there's gonna be a new order tomorrow, then it's safe to say they already got things set up for not we may not be awesome.
Brannick will nod and he'll turn back towards the door and in Dwarvish again will say, then perhaps it is best we take our leave now. Oh, sorry, no, that's it.
So I think with that you'll hear another like few knocks and basically have the next words being passed, basically. A damn, the word just like escaped me. It's like a kind of language when it's a command, but it's not necessarily. They're basically telling you to open the door. But yeah, I lost like the actual word that was in my mind. But yeah, the next thing that they'll pass on is basically the command where then it's time to go. Open the door.
So Brennick will he'll reply in Dwarvish. Give us a few moments to put these things away, and he'll move to start kind of taking away the bodies, enough bodies so that he can open the door as ordered.
So when you all open the door, making your way out of there, you're going to see uh, 6 Duergar, and then Grandolpha at the rear of them, and same 3 of them who seem to be like slightly more regal. You might notice the other 3 are kind of the ones you've come across, the initial guard, the 2 from outside of the throne room. But they're basically going to kind of bring you out of there. And I think for what it's worth, we're gonna go with that is roughly the hour here. I rolled a 1 for his D4, so we can have Lu Jianbao kind of coming to, as you all are effectively going to be ejected from within Sunblight Castle, and they are going to set you back out into the cold.
That gentleman was a monumental success.
And that's where we're going to pick up next week.
Sorry you lost your blade, Jinbao, but I'm pretty sure we would have hit it if we tried to get it back.
Oh no, I'm not worried about the steel.
Yeah, I feel like for what it's worth, it's like unfortunate in the moment, but like that's also the type of thing where he just needs, what is it, another longsword? Or no, it's the great sword? Longsword.
Longsword.
Yeah, he just needs a longsword, and that's not really shit.
Okay, yeah. And then I was, knowing that Randolph is definitely not like a real ally. I'm afraid that if we had tried to stay, we essentially would have become um, perhaps more permanent guests, quote unquote guests, than we wanted to be.
Yeah, I wanted to present that as that was one of those things where it's like, look, we had a tense agreement from the start. Before anybody betrays anybody, it's time for you all to go. And like the dwarf that you were speaking with, I definitely wanted to come off with that, as it's like, you guys don't get to tell her what she does now that she's in power. If she holds to the agreement, great. If she doesn't, that's her prerogative. But that was kind of like what I was going for with how that dwarf basically would have said, like, if she doesn't leave this place, that's, what she does. There's no way to kind of predict it. And I feel like that's what I was getting at. It's not always easy to kind of necessarily pass that knowledge forward, but that was the goal.
Yeah, I kind of realized almost as soon as I had Brennick say it, like talk about like them going back underground. He's like, I was thinking, he's like, that's probably a stupid thing to say because we're in no position to insist or force them to. So, yeah, but
But I feel like that's one of those situations where it's like, that's kind of a tense victory. It's definitely not a loss, but it's also, you guys didn't take the keep. You definitely have things undiscovered here. But it's one of those things like